we had a email from our attorney that ended up in a conference call at 4:30, and we just finished it. And we will get going as soon as we regather here. So I apologize. All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. We all set? I'll call the meeting to order. Our first order of business is a joint discussion with the Woodstock Board of Selectmen. I see Gil. Who else is? Oh, that's Cheryl. Cheryl. We can see your hat.
There we go. Now
there we go.
Is Scott here?
Is Scott here?
He was. I think he's.
There he is.
Oh,
Hi,
there he is.
Scott.
There he is. All right. Super.
Sorry we're late.
Oh, he's muted.
He's muted. Oh, good.
And just so for the minutes, I see Michael Maracchio is here by Zoom. I see Bill. Who is that?
Bill, what is your last name?
Is he?
He's muted. Is he muted? Yeah. Looks
Well,
like
maybe we can figure out later.
All right, Bill. I don't know. And then there's in addition to Gil's face, there's a Zoom that says Gil. Are you?
Same Gil.
Same Gil.
Same Gil.
Okay.
All right, and then I see Carol Riley. And is that everybody, Ron?
You've got someone that dialed in.
Okay, who's on the phone call?
Can you unmute them or not?
No, all I can do is ask them.
All right, so we don't know who Bill is, and we don't know who the phone call is.
The bill may be Waterhouse.
Okay, Bill Waterhouse.
Bill Waterhouse. Okay.
All right, any idea on the phone call?
381-8022.
381-8022.
Pat Griffin maybe or something.
Yeah.
Hey there, it's Kelly Watts Trinkle from North Woodstock. Thank you.
Oh, Kelly West, thank you. All right. First thing we wanted to talk about, as you know, the Lincoln Board of Selectmen had a discussion with the solid waste operators about the amount of non-resident, non-taxpayer people going to the solid waste facility, many unaware of procedures and recycling, et cetera, but doing so as tenants in a short-term rental unit, either in Lincoln or Woodstock. And we had talked about the problems associated with that as far as educating those guests on how to recycle and conform to what our rules are. And number two, regulating them as they come in with some sort of sticker system. And we wanted to just get your input on this. I understand you had a discussion on this as a board for your side. Do you want to bring us up to date on that?
Well, my opinion is the landlord should be supplying dumpsters and things like that. Every tenant should not be going to the dump. I think it's ridiculous. It's like everybody in a hotel, somebody at the front desk clerk says, to the hotel person, drop off your rubbish at the dump when you leave. I think it's ridiculous that, and it's not right for these Airbnb people to tell their tenants to go to the dump. It's up to them to go to the dump for their tenants or have some service pick up their rubbish and bring it there. If they're not residents or homeowners themselves, they should not be at the dump, or unless they're renting a property full-time, year-round type thing. That's my attitude. They should have a sticker, period.
I agree. Couldn't have said it better.
I would tend to agree with that also. That like you said, a hotel doesn't ask every one of their guests to go to the dump. Most of these short-term rentals, as far as in condos, have dumpsters or some sort of cleaning service that does that anyway.
I agree too, and I agreed. And I said the same thing in our last meeting. I wasn't in favor of having guests going to the solid waste facility at all. I think it's a property owner's responsibility to manage his own garbage and to figure out a way, whether it's through his property person who cleans it or some other way besides having guests go down there. I agree. All right.
I think we're all in agreement there.
All right,
Yeah.
do we want to, do we want to get back to a sticker system? I know we've had that in the past. We probably still do technically, but I'm not sure how often they check it or use it. And I know this, in a transient community, it's more difficult, but do we want to get back on board of having stickers and enforcing that?
I think we should.
I agree.
Oh, go ahead, Cheryl.
I said I agree. I think we should get back to a sticker system.
Nate is here. You probably see him, but did you have any opinion, or do you see any problems going back to a more enforced sticker system?
I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenge on super busy days for the two folks that we have that work there full time.
Mhm.
Constantly check stickers,
I think so too.
because especially on, say, a Thursday after the transfer station has been closed, the one day a week it's closed on Wednesday, it's a flood in and out.
Mhm.
And with the scale there, it gets a little bound up, so you're trying to get people in and out quickly. And that's what Jim shared with me as well this morning. It'd be difficult, but we can work towards it, but we may need to get some more help down there to check stickers.
I think, the trouble is you can't have it both ways. So if we're complaining about people coming in there and doing the wrong thing, or we do this, I mean, sorry, and I think if you had some posting there, that it would also help, that you have to have a sticker, blah, 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 blah.
One of the things I had thought about was having the town clerk do it, or come here where they register their cars, and then they can hand out the stickers as if they have any questions, they know their residents or don't know their residents. I think it's a lot to ask two guys to do, because they are tremendously busy
It's not a bad idea.
to go and look and check, and that's, to make it accurate, and take it off their plate. I think they have enough to do. I've seen them.
That's not a bad idea. Turn them right away. Yeah, someone,
Down there.
I
You get
agree.
your sticker at the town building, not at the
Correct.
dump.
you do. So turn them away and tell them to come
So-
to either town
So
and
you
get
move
their
your
sticker
residents at town hall,
Yep.
and they issue you stickers.
at either
A lot
town.
of towns do that. Jefferson does.
Perfect.
This time, tons.
That
They
and-
go by the amount of vehicles that you own, that
Right.
they have record of,
Yeah.
that you
You have
register in
record.
that town,
Proof, right.
and they give you the sticker.
Oh, God, I don't need that many. My concern would be having, we are in the middle of a pandemic, and having that many people face to face down there, and it'd be better if it's here, there's barriers, there's plexiglass, there's
Yeah.
mandatory masks when you come in the door, I like that better. So great,
Do you think we can do that at both town halls,
we
with
do
both town
now,
clerks?
right? Yeah,
Good. Yeah. That would be awesome, I think.
perfect,
All right, then I guess we're all in agreement.
that's one off the list.
The solid waste facility is for residents and taxpayers only. We in Lincoln have a registration process for short-term rental unit owners. And we will, as part of that registration process, make them aware of this rule. Just so that they know that they're not supposed to be putting this off on their guests to do. I think the workers at the transfer station will also have to be part of that education process. If people start coming down in there and they say, oh, the guy who rented me this unit said for me to come here, we need to find out who was saying that, who that owner is, and get to the owner, not the one person every weekend who's coming to use it. So that we can put a stop to it.
Do they have on the personnel, and I don't know if this is too personnel of an issue, but do they have the right to refuse services? If
Yes.
they don't have a sticker?
They have
Okay.
the right to refuse.
And they know
service
they
anyway.
do. They know they can
Yep.
do that. All right, good. Thank you.
All right, and we'll have the two town clerks talk to each other about stickers. I don't know if we have a roll of stickers.
There
They're
is.
down at the transfer station.
They do. So maybe we divide that up between the two town clerks and get a procedure for that.
And signage, we need to provide more signage down there so folks know coming in. if you-
Stickers required.
Yeah, you must have a sticker too, yeah,
All right, and can you get that?
get some
Ordered.
signage, perfect.
Perfect. All right, anything else with solid waste?
No,
As far as the signage goes, if you could get it out closer to the road so they don't get all the way into the building before they find out
Yeah.
they can't use it.
We can put it on the first side.
yeah, or
Yeah.
more than one spot, I mean, get a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, good point.
You put 2 or 3 up, then you say, well, you know, you didn't see the first one, did you see the second one? How about the third one? Good,
All
thank
right,
you.
yeah,
Be a lot less aggravation for the crew.
yes.
Agreed.
Yes. And there will be some hiccups, like anything, with people coming in and insisting that they're a resident, but you don't recognize them, and it's a Sunday, and they can't go get a sticker, and there's gonna be some hiccups.
That'll
There's
be a
gonna be some
judgment call.
flexibility
Yeah.
to the initial enforcement, but,
That'll be a judgment call, you're.
What they used to do is provide a bill of some sort, be it telephone or be it, well, back then it was telephone, an electric bill or something that has their name and address on it.
Yeah.
To prove that they are residents.
For tax.
yeah, there's questions you can ask that,
And
gives you a
yeah, you
clue.
could let them get away with it once, but then they
Yeah.
need to go and get a sticker.
the other thing we wanted to talk with you guys about is Halloween. And
Oh, yeah.
do you guys do your thing and we do our thing and make separate decisions, or do we figure out what's best for the two towns and
Can I jump in before you go too
yeah,
far?
go ahead.
I've been talking with Tara at the rec department about ideas on how to have a safe Halloween and not, I don't know where people came up, I see on Facebook that, what do you mean they canceled Halloween? I don't know where that came from, honestly, I have no idea. Some town somewhere must have canceled it.
believe everything.
I know, automatically, it's on Facebook, so it must be real. Anyway, we were talking, one of the ideas we came up with, and we're just throwing ideas around, knowing that Friday is the webinar on Halloween, what the state's gonna, where the state's standing on Halloween right now, correct? That's the webinar Friday?
Have it over
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
NHMA.
The
Yeah.
NHMA, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think we should make any decision before that. However, one of the ideas we were throwing around was possibly either the school parking lot or the hobo parking
Some
lot.
more information on that
And,
too.
and roping off an area to have kids in, this roped off, or, barricaded off area, so the kids can safely stand apart in that area and then have cars drive around and hand out candy. Then you have people that want to participate, want to do it, you can make it, you can dress up your car, make it like a 4th of July float with a Halloween theme or whatever. And you're not forcing trick-or-treaters on neighborhoods where people may be immunocompromised or very uncomfortable having kids come into the door or whatever. And you said you had more on that?
So it actually started with, Doug Moorhead was concerned because the Interactors have done the eat before you trick or treat thing at the Penguin Ski Club for years. And he said as much as they've got the barbecue thing totally under control and have individuals doing the ketchup and mustard rather than everybody touching things or packets, they didn't feel like they had enough space there. So he asked if it would be okay if he contacted Ben Clark and asked about the hobo parking lot. I talked to him today and Ben said, absolutely, whatever you need. Our trains aren't running that day. You start as early as you want, go as late as you want. Because one of the other things we had talked about was possibly staggering times. The one thing that Primex said the other day in a meeting is that if you do have over 100, you need to mandate masks. So that possibly by having, because one of the concerns we originally talked about a parade of kids, but then the kids definitely want to show off their costumes. So to have them come at different, and if they have multiple kids, they come at one time versus the other, but to have them parade through different, like the library said, they would set up a booth station well apart from the fire station. Who wants to use a PVC pipe to distribute candy, but.
I love that idea. I love it.
Send it down the chute.
I
But just
thought
give
we
the
had
kids a
talked
way
about
to
not
show
doing
off their
that.
costumes.
That seems like a trunk or treat type thing, which they don't want to do because they don't want kids congregating in certain areas.
My thought is, why don't you just let things go as they are? If people don't want to give out candy, shut off your lights. If you want to do it, keep your lights on. You're separating, people are already separated all over town. Why do you want to bring them all to one spot and put them all together? It kind of defeats the purpose of the whole thing, I think. Why not just let things go as they are now and let people go house to house if they don't want to, if they decorate the house and stop in and do it, you know? They're all wearing masks. I just think, I think you're better off letting it roll as it is. And you know what? People are going to do it anyway, whether we like it or not, period. So if you think you're going to tell people they're not going to, your kids aren't going to go out and do it, you're wrong. All you're going to do is have people roaming the streets without them shut off and, you know, and just causing a big problem that way. My thought is, and I won't say anything else, just let it roll as it is and walk away. So.
I think maybe,
Webinar before we make any decision, look one way or the other.
Yeah, I think we
I think
maybe,
it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe we can put some guidelines out, you know, go with what Scott says, and we can say, listen, adults need to be in masks. People have to physically put the candy in the kid's bag instead of the kids reaching in and grabbing a handful. I think we could set some guidelines too that could help ease any of those concerns.
Okay, Gil, you wanted to say something?
I'd rather not complicate it if, you know, we don't have to. And Scott was right. I think that if people don't want it, if people are really concerned about it, they just will shut their lights off and not do it.
Jane, did you want to say something?
I was just wondering how many people, I know those streets get really busy because I've handed out candy over there a lot. And I don't know if there's 100 or more of them at one time or not. It didn't never seem that busy to me. There was 100 or more, but I'd like to wait and see what they have to say, the New Hampshire Association, and go from there regarding that. I hate to have it not happen, but I hate to have people feel like they have to get candy and open their door when they're not feeling comfortable about it. You know what I'm saying? So
It's gonna, I'm just telling you right now, it's gonna happen anyway, unless you're gonna have the police stop it. So that's all I'm saying. But I think we should be guidelines, and I think we should listen to what they have to say for sure before we do anything.
yeah.
But I think saying that they're going to do it anyway is kind of presumptuous. If we do something that's you know, super fun and the town really buys it and gets into it, you know, that's safer, then, you know, you can't make somebody sitting on their doorstep handing out candy wear a mask. You can't make them. And I don't care who you are. You could say you must wear a mask all day long, but if they're sitting on their front stoop handing out candy, they don't have to wear a mask if they don't want to, and that's just not safe. So I think if
But the thing is, you don't want to bring all those
the way to do
people
it
together.
safer, then I think that's where I would want to go. But again, I don't want to make any decisions until after the 30th, when we see what the recommendations are going to be from NHMA.
Sorry, okay, sorry, Scott, go ahead.
It was, I did call, I actually had my husband.
No, I agree. We wait and see what happens. I just think doing some organized event where we bring everybody together is a bad idea.
Tara?
Thornton has canceled their trunk or treat that was at Benton's, but is still up in the air about what they're doing on the Upper Mad River Road with that closure. Was very interested in what we decide, so they would like to be in on that process, because theirs is run through their police department, so they were.
Yeah.
The other things for consideration is it is a Saturday night this year. So as far as number wise, those usually tend to be more popular.
In numbers too, I know the one resident that I spoke to on Church Street handed out one piece of candy per trick-or-treater and purchased over 500 pieces of candy. and gave them all out.
You do run out of candy quickly. if you
And
don't
that was
like-
last year.
Yeah.
That was last year. We had over 500 trick-or-treaters. And was Halloween on a Friday night, I'm assuming? No.
Last year was the one we rescheduled because of the pouring rain.
Oh, right.
yeah.
So I don't know what night it was on. So that's.
We don't have to, as far as, it sounds like almost a classic example of governmental overreach type of thing. I think they're gonna have to be responsible for themselves. Parents, at this point, responsible for their children, and anybody that's gonna give out candy, I'm sure, will do the social distancing thing or a mask, one way or another. But trying to stop them or over-organize what's going on, I think maybe a little bit of overreach for us.
People will still hand out candy if someone comes to their door, I'm sure.
All right,
Anyway, go ahead.
I say, why don't we wait until, is it September 30th is the
I
webinar?
think so, yeah.
Do you meet on November 2nd?
Not November, October.
No, November, oh, right, I'm sorry.
That would be after.
Go after. Don't mind me. Thank you. All right, so the 30th.
I'll tell you how it was.
So it would be
October
5th.
6th. Yes.
You meet on the 6th, Tuesday the 6th? We meet on the 5th. That we could figure it out after that.
All right, let's postpone the decision until the 5th or the 6th. Do you want us to call in on the 6th to your meeting?
Zoom into your meeting? Or do you guys meet in person or are you zooming in?
Doesn't matter.
Zoom, but you can zoom into our meeting for a few minutes and we'll do it right
Sure.
off.
All right.
Perfect, okay,
Send
the
us an
6th.
invite to your Zoom meeting for October 6th.
perfect.
And by
It's
then,
5 o'clock,
No,
5 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay,
and we'll put it first on the agenda.
thank you.
October 6th.
Thank you.
You're going to this, not going, you're participating in that webinar?
We just found out about today, but I'm planning to.
Okay,
I intend to.
okay, and then if anyone else wants information, well, it's on the New Hampshire Municipal Association website or get it from Tara or Tamara.
Okay.
All right, is there anything else that we want to discuss as a joint board?
This is off topic. I don't know if I can ask.
Go
you
ahead.
that. Do you know how many, you may not even care, but I was just wondering if you had the number of short-term rentals that you have in Woodstock. Do you have an idea of how many short-term rentals?
We have no idea.
Okay, all right, thank you.
The only thing I would like, if there's going to be any discussion from the audience, if we could have that opened up to, so we could hear any questions or comments that may be.
I have an email that was sent in. Do you want me to read it?
Yep.
I might have an email. that in a second.
Regarding this discussion.
Right here. It was from Megan Harrington. Good evening, Lincoln Woodstock Selectmen. I'm unable to attend your joint meeting, but I would like to address my opinion as a Woodstock resident. I'm writing in regards to supporting Halloween for the towns of Lincoln and Woodstock. I wanted to inform you that my neighborhood will continue to have trick-or-treaters this year, just as we safely accommodated our community 4th of July parade. We are a socially responsible community with children that need us. COVID isn't going away, and I strongly believe social distancing and wearing masks will be the new norm. With the tourist season ending, Halloween being outside, we can safely accommodate families choosing to trick or treat. Residents have a choice to pass out candy, as parents have a choice to bring their children trick or treating. Halloween would not be an event put on like the town, like Pizza for the People. And I wanted, before I finish, Pizza for the People is not put on by the towns, either one. An officer could come and assist for safety. I hope that you agree and that our local police, fire, and ambulance services will continue to keep our streets safe again this year. As always, thank you for all you do. Sincerely, Megan Woods. Put on by the town like Pizza for the People. I don't understand her comment there, but
Just that it's a community event. It's not sponsored by the town, but it's certainly a community event that
It's a community event.
brings people together
right.
For just gathering. Gail, that's a good idea. Is there anybody in the room here who would like to speak? Give us input? Is there anybody online who would like to give us some input? All right. Is the telephone? forgive me,
Somebody's trying to call in, I think.
You speak up.
If the person on the telephone wants to say something, you're gonna have to speak up. All right, I guess not. Then anything else with Woodstock? Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you on October 6th.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hey, guys, thanks.
Sorry
Take
again
care.
for the late. Apologize for that.
Have a good
No
evening.
problem.
Yep, you too. All right, next thing on the agenda is, this is the first of 2 public hearings regarding possible.
Nate, Tara, thank you for coming.
Can I ask one question?
No.
It may be in Butch's town meeting report, but I'd like you to make a vote on water conservation,
Oh.
mandatory ban on irrigation. We are not in a good situation. We need to do something.
He did inform us about that.
Yeah, no, it's good that you brought that up now. That was on the agenda for tonight. Right now, we have a ban other than 5 to 8 a.m., 5 to 8 p.m.
You want a complete ban?
Complete ban on outdoor watering.
I'll make a motion. We have a town-wide irrigation ban effective immediately and,
The state one, they were also talking about washing your cars.
car washing.
No outdoor use at all.
Yeah, no outdoor use of water.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Flowers, or the guys washing down the parking lot out there every day, you know, I mean,
Yes,
Okay,
you're gonna cause conflict there. This
I'll
way
make a
you're
motion.
not- No,
that we immediately ban all outdoor water use
Yes.
in the town of Lincoln and encourage our residents to conserve water.
From 5 to.
No,
All day,
all day.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Until further notice.
until further notice. That was my motion.
I'll second it.
All right, is there any discussion on that, Dave?
and I think we need to make some sort of printout or something that if we see somebody, we can hand them that and say the town has done this because, and you're gonna have to have the police enforce it if we try to educate them and they still do it, then I'm not gonna be the one to say, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. No, it's gonna have to come from
That's a good
somebody
idea.
else. It's not- Not that they don't have enough to do, but to say they gotta go out and
I would assist Chad's folks
bother
as well.
everybody, or say somebody watering, you know, it's kind of minor, but
Can you do something
they have the
tomorrow?
enforcement.
Jane can do something up tomorrow, print off copies, and for anybody that wants, for Chad, you can,
The question would be, there's no ordinance. I know it's a directive from you guys, but it's not being written. What do we enforce? The question.
What we're enforcing is the state RSA.
yeah, and I'll
It
find that.
gives them the ability to make that call.
Do you know the number on
Say it
there?
again.
Say-
That's my
I will get it.
You will. Thank you.
41:11
No.
dash D.
Colon 11.
And Jane will put that on the handout that she makes for
And just-
you.
That's a dash D.
D, isn't David?
Just for everyone's educational information, just an average 3/4, 5/8 garden hose will put out 17 gallons a minute of water. Why don't, just so you know, that's a lot of water. So and if we can limit the amount of water that we have to make and the amount of time that we're running our water treatment plant pumps that are pumping water out of the river, that's fading away to nothing,
I know,
is good.
it's good.
Although my garden didn't do well at all this year because I didn't want it much. Do we exempt food gardens?
I don't think we should.
I don't think we should.
I
If they do a
strongly
garden, they
disagree.
Have to do it with a bucket or something, some kind of small.
Which you can
they
do.
Fill up, which you can do.
But like what I'm saying is, keep a garden hose running. It's 17 gallons a minute. That's a lot of water.
It is. So this is pretty serious, then we need to look at this and take this seriously, is what I'm hearing you saying. And I get that, so.
The
we can
river
take a
right now,
bucket and-
it's at like 31 cubic feet per second.
Right, and what's that
I've
shut
never
off?
seen it this dry.
I think it might be around 28, somewhere in that range.
Is it
but
28?
It's the down, this is the lowest it's been since 2001 on the just hit these dates here recently, 2001, 2002 was down to 29.
Yep.
And I don't know if they would shut us off on the river and say, you can't have drinking water, but we can still, but the bigger issue is where our water comes into the wet well with our 2 pumps, they're not gonna be completely submerged in water, and that's what they use to keep the things cool when they're running, so we don't wanna be down below that, and the pond is not dry, obviously, little pond, but it's
Right.
down, so we would have to pump water to get it to come down into our reservoir from the pond.
We'd
Yeah.
rather not have to rent a diesel powered pump, put it up there, and then we'd have to make 5 daily pumping trips up there with diesel. I'd rather not have to do that.
I was looking at, I looked up at what mandatory water ban meant, and in the definition included any outside recreation, including swimming pools, jacuzzis, any of that. So that should all be on the notice, Jane.
And that's why we say no outside use, but I mean, to say somebody's filling the swimming pool unless you're right there watching it or something like that, or a jacuzzi, you're not gonna really know that, but.
No, but they tend to change the water too on those things.
And I believe you also have to put the notice in a local newspaper, and it has to be like 3 days before it becomes effective.
Yeah.
So that, you know, you can say you're doing it today, but I think you gotta date it for Thursday, because you put it, well, you probably won't get it in the paper.
Till next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, we can put it.
We can do it
the
now.
ban is
have it in
effective
the paper,
immediately,
just
right.
put it on also.
It can go on Facebook, on the town website, absolutely.
I think it included gardens.
But I
too.
mean, we saw it in the sense you did the 5 to 8, we still saw people doing it all day long, you know?
No, because yeah, and I hear you. If we have ordinances, we need to be able to enforce them. And I'm not saying that.
And I think once they at least stop and say, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this, because
Yeah.
they probably won't continue doing, but you never know, somebody might do it.
Yeah.
That's when the police have to be the enforcing hand of it. But
We have a
All
second.
right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Oh, sorry, Cliff. I didn't see a hand.
You have to, I was thinking about this, people at 5 o'clock in the morning, the automatic sprinklers come on.
Right.
We never see it.
Right.
And they're getting away with it. Like you say, you gotta put something out to say no more.
Yeah.
With this automatic sprinklers.
All right,
I made a second.
made a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And just to follow that up, we're gonna put together a flyer.
Yeah.
And give some copies to the police. Give some copies to the water department. We're gonna put this on the town can do a Facebook post on this. Can we ask the police Facebook page and the fire Facebook page to do the same thing? Whatever she does, just
I'll send it to Karen.
share it, yeah.
Share it, yeah.
And then on the town website.
You want me to put
we'll-
one, notice everybody's door? It's good steps. I don't mind.
We should probably have it posted at the post office.
Right.
Yeah, they don't know.
we would in 2 or 3 other
3 places.
Yeah.
Solid
Yeah.
waste facility.
The solid waste facility is a good one, the post
Oh,
office,
yeah.
in the town, obviously the town building here. We'll put an ad in the paper.
Okay.
And can you, when you do the post, can you forward one to the Chamber of Commerce and ask them to send that out to the businesses?
Good call.
And that should help, I'm not saying it's gonna solve the issue, but if they're a member of the chamber, they'll get the post in the weekly email.
Good idea.
Right.
Um,
Good call. Can you send the definition so it includes swimming? If you look it up, it will say everything that it includes a mandatory ban.
I'll get all the
Research, yeah, it just comes
pertinent
up.
information.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So they know what
I'll
they
send you
have to
guys a
check out.
copy.
Thank you, Jan, I appreciate that.
So I have kind of a segue to that. I don't know if you want to talk about it now, keep going, but as far as campfires in people's houses, I don't know if Ron had looked into it. There was, before Labor Day, I walked around, there was at least, I don't know, a dozen campfires. And I don't know if they had permits, and are we looking into those at all? Because that's pretty dangerous, because we're really close. And there's campfires everywhere.
Not less.
planes, they'll go riding around all night.
Well, I didn't complain because I have a permit on the police. I have a permit. I got one. You
I
do?
don't, I mean,
Yeah, probably
is it typical in dry weather like this to say, even though if you have a campfire permit, like many of us do, that you can't, was
Well,
that?
The past few days it's been to a class 2, now it's class 3 today, so it limits what you can have for campfires. When it gets very high, then you're not allowed to have campfires.
Yeah.
Like campgrounds are. It's pretty unlikely a campground will get shut down after campfires, but local residents, condos, whatever, when we get in a very high fire danger, then that's shut off. That part of pulling that permit is they're supposed to monitor.
Do they all come and have permits? I remember I texted you, it was that Friday night, and it wasn't that late, but there were a lot of campfires under windows and those types of things. Do they all come for permits? How many permits have you submitted, written this year?
Probably done 40 or 50 of them.
Okay, so I'm assuming then that they would have a permit. That's good.
And some of them do it online.
I got mine online.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good. Good. But I, do you
But
want to
you
ban
know,
those?
if the police or someone sees one, questions whether they have a permit, call the PD or call me and I can check it out.
Well, I gotta call the PD about that. But so my question would be, do you want us to ban them, Ron, being the fire chief? I mean, should we allow those fires to
Well, they have
be?
the right to have a campfire until we get into the extreme,
Okay,
because we
It's
have a
not
water
extreme.
shortage, doesn't mean we stop campfires.
okay,
So today's class 3, it could change with the humidity levels. It could drop back to 2 tomorrow
okay,
in the cooler weather. So we just have to monitor that daily.
all righty, good to know.
If it gets to that point, obviously we put it on our Facebook page and let the PD know if there's a campfire ban.
Yeah, please.
Okay, Nate, before you leave, I just wanted to just have a public discussion or whatever, discussion. We're looking at redoing Maple Street this year. That's still on the docket to repave that, redo the sidewalks and reset the basins.
Yep, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna mill an inch off of that pavement, which is just like what they did here on 112.
Just scarring, grinding.
So it's
Yep.
gonna mill it off, shave off an
Okay.
inch. Then Public Works is gonna go and repair 4 of the storm drains. The tops that need to be rebuilt, repaired after it's milled. The mill's gonna happen first. And then got a JB granite's coming in next month to reset the whole curb for the whole sidewalk. Public Works is gonna peel off the asphalt that's on the sidewalk now, regrade it and prep it for pavement. And then they'll come in and they'll put the inch on the road and repave the sidewalk. No elevation changes will happen on that road at all. No drainage should be affected, period. The road drainage will be exactly the same as it is now, except the storm drains will be at the right elevation of pavement instead of being a hole.
Perfect.
Someone had suggested to me, and I'm just relaying the information, that they wanted a sidewalk on the other side.
That's not gonna happen.
Okay, good to know. So I would
If
mention.
you're talking to do that would be like Pollard Road sidewalk project, $500,000 to do something like that. We don't own enough property.
I say, I don't know how much land we own on this side of that's a narrow road.
It
I
is.
think we own any.
Yeah, it'd be,
Telephone poles are all on that side.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's true. That's good. Thanks.
Fire hydrants.
So we're basically
and-
taking that road and making it brand new again without changing any elevations or grades. The
That'll be
only thing that'll
nice.
be a little different is there'll be a little more curb reveal.
Curb what? Repeat.
Curb reveal.
Height difference between
Oh, okay.
the road and the curb.
The road's been shimmed multiple times. That's why I decided to mill it instead of just put another layer of asphalt on what's there.
Yeah.
Won't be so easy to drive up onto the sidewalk.
Right. And the sidewalks, this will be another sidewalk that then becomes ADA compliant.
I believe it all pretty much is now.
Oh, is it?
because
Okay.
The 2 tip downs that meet 2 roads, which is the Pollard Road end and the
Main
Main
Street.
Street end, have already been ADA compliant because those tip downs have been rebuilt.
right, okay.
We did the one on Pollard Road with Pollard Road sidewalk
Right.
project, and then the state came and did the other one on Route 112. So both those have the warning plates. We'll just make sure when the curbs reset, that every driveway apron will have the correct pitch.
Perfect.
So they'll be all ADA.
Okay, and then, Rue Déjeuner,
Will be done tomorrow morning.
tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
It was ground graded and base course on this today.
Oh,
and
nice. I didn't know that.
The top will be on tomorrow morning.
Wow, okay.
Fantastic.
And,
Blue Mountain Road, I don't have the schedule for that.
okay,
That will be happening before, the finished pavement will be on Maple Street. That'll be the next paved project. Will be a 3/4 inch shim on Blue Mountain Road from, the pavement joint from the bridge project, which is just on the
gondola
right
side.
of the business center. It'll begin there, and a 3/4 shim with a 1 inch overlay will go all the way up to the entrance of Beechwood, which is just past the house. So that will require some manhole adjustments, some gate valve adjustments, a few storm drain adjustments. We're gonna try to do a drag shim on the edges. The edges of the road aren't the problem. The problem's in the middle of the road. It doesn't have a crown to it. So we're gonna put it all back with the correct pitch so that the water doesn't flow down the middle of the road. It sheds off and gets to our catch basins.
Perfect.
We'll pay, I talked to the contractor, and some of those basins, we're gonna try to do some mill work around them so the pavement will match to the basin, so the water will all get to them.
Very good. I just wanted to go over that in public
Yes.
while you were here. I know we talked about that at CIP and, you were gonna get some of those things done this
It
fall.
should all be done by the end of next month,
I think it's awesome. Yeah,
before it gets cold.
good. All right, anything else related to those? Then let's move on to the public hearing.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yes, thank you both.
Thank you.
As you know, the town has been asked to consider making a lot line adjustment up on Beech Nut Drive to the Maracchio lot. This was brought to the planning board per the requirement of the RSA process to do this. The planning board looked at it and was in favor of it. And these are the points that were discussed or wanted to be relayed from the planning board to the Board of Selectmen. Is that number one, there should be a water and sewer easement on if any of the town, the planning board didn't know this, if any of the town water or sewer were within the piece of land to be transferred, that there's just an easement to cover so that we can go in and obviously fix water lines or shut things on and off or whatever.
Replace, repair, yeah.
Same thing with drainage, if there was any drainage ditches or culverts or whatever, that there'd be a drainage easement, so that again, we could retain the right to fix it. That there is clear title and required that the Maracchios get title insurance. And this was out of the concern that much of Beechwood, when this is all done back in the, I don't know, 70s, 60s, 70s, that there were some title issues related to utilities and roads, et cetera, just to take the town off of any title issues. We want a title search and title insurance to be done by the Maracchios in this. That they also looked that a small piece of that semicircle is in front of lot 12 as opposed to lot 13, and I don't know who owns lot 12.
Oh, I see, yeah.
But it would make sense for, I don't know, do you have this map?
I do.
Okay, it would make sense for your lot line to continue in a straight line out to the edge of Beech Nut versus that little pie-shaped corner of the semicircle that seems to be more in front of lot 12.
You're talking about this one? So
Yes.
Continue out here.
No, so we continue down here.
Oh. Down here? Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Go this way.
So that yellow line is straight all the way up to the road.
That's
So
our request.
what you're talking
No.
about is all just here.
This is what they own.
Yeah,
What we're gonna transfer to them, I can't draw on this because it's,
I know where you're drawing. Yeah.
but as if this line just kept going straight,
Yeah,
this whole semicircle in here,
is what they would like.
what we would be transferring to them, yes. And that other little, that other little pieces, I don't know what the square footage is, but it's smaller than this room, could be transferred to lot number 12. We just don't want to give you land in front of their lot, if you see, that makes sense?
Have you been up to see 45 Beechnut Drive and the land that we're referring to? Because the land that we're referring to is adjacent to the driveway on the left and the driveway on the right. It doesn't cross the driveway and go into the culvert of the property next door, which is owned by Drew is his last name.
Yeah.
So we're only looking, if you're looking at the house, there's a driveway that comes down on both sides.
I've seen
That
that.
meets the road.
Yep.
We're now looking to add that property that sits above the culvert to have that lot alignment come to where it now meets the road. Because if you remember back in the 60s, that was the turnaround before Beechnut, was broken through for other homes to be built.
Show me where she's. This here. She's not up.
So we're just looking to take that curvature and bring it all the way down to the dotted line
No.
where the road is.
All right, Jane has a question about
The map. Show me.
the map.
please. Show me on
So
the map.
what I'm, on this side of the road, across from you, there is an actual paved road piece that loops around
Right,
like that. There used to be one on your side, correct?
but it's a driveway.
I
thing.
don't want to have, I'm not looking, when you're coming up Beechnut Drive, my house is on the right.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to add any property to that turnaround on the left.
Right, but just to go back, this used to loop all the way around, which is why this is a circular,
1960.
okay. Once Beechnut was put through, your side of the turnaround kind of got extinguished, but we still own the land.
Correct.
You now use what used to be the turnaround roadway as your driveway.
No. The driveway is to the right and to the left of that property.
To the right and to the left, I don't
Well,
understand.
my driveway is kind of like a
That's a horseshoe.
cul-de-sac.
That's what we're
Oh,
saying.
gotcha.
Make this one
Like a horseshoe.
between the two driveways.
So the
Right,
land
where
that
else?
sits on top of the culvert, we want to just take that land and bring it down to the street and have it be part of our property line. Because
So
if you're looking at-
you also want that little piece, because that's part of your driveway.
That's part
I
of the
see it
driveway.
now, Yeah. Well, I just did the area of it. It's 0.01 acres.
The
That
little corner?
That little
Okay.
corner.
All right,
That would make sense. if
that
it-
makes
if it
sense
is
to
your
me.
driveway.
If
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
driveway's there, to not.
Yeah.
Not transfer that to the Drews.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
And we maintain that, piece of property, to seed it, to water it, but we're not watering it. And to mow it and so forth. I just, we started to put, a trust together and kind of recognize that the boundaries of the property needed to be updated if that was the case, and we could add that square footage back to our property line. That would be helpful.
So the total amount is how much in acreage? It's not an acre,
I'll
obviously.
tell you in a second. I'm
Okay.
measuring it
It's,
right now.
it's probably 60 feet wide.
Yeah.
And 10 feet in.
Yeah.
We're not, because then my land starts. So we're talking.
60 feet
something that
wide.
you can-
That's a
if you
bit.
mow
Yeah.
it, the lawnmower goes up and down.
How much did the planning board ask that you pay?
We have to determine the dollar amount.
Okay, and who's paying for the attorneys?
Well,
Attorney that we get contacted by.
That's my attorney.
That's, yeah, that's
Okay,
really good.
so, all right, Mr. Diamond.
But that was one of the things from the planning, but I haven't finished the list.
all right,
The
go ahead.
last thing was that it would be at no cost to the town. In other words, if there was a survey, attorney, transfer tax, that you would take care of that. There's no cost to the town.
Okay.
I don't know what the acreage is. Okay.
Then take your time. You want to be accurate, so. Well, the same size as my lot.
My house is on.
Well, it's not, my property is like 0.3 of an acre. I'm talking, I'm not sure if you've ever been on.
Yeah, 0.37 is what we have on yours.
Right,
At
and
least-
that's all set.
Yeah.
We're just looking to align the lot to bring a little bit of footage down to the street. Because that cul-de-sac, that was developed, back in the 60s for the
It's
turnaround.
0.10 acres.
Okay.
So it's a tenth of an acre.
It's a tenth of an acre.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
I mean,
without the addition.
if you look at the map, that makes sense. I mean, what you have now is 0.37.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to measure it. I'd like to, like I say, take a look at getting a little bit more of an accurate.
Yeah, I just did it online on the town's website, on the GIS mapping, that's it, so. yeah.
And just to caution, the GIS map site is only as accurate as the information that gets plugged into it.
Exactly, yeah.
And some of these measurements and lines are from the 60s and may not be accurate. And we've found that in many of the older lots in town that that's just the best guess based on the data that we
This
have.
gives us an idea, it's certainly not fact. So yeah,
So-
getting a surveyor in there may not be a bad idea for you, so that you have that info.
All right, with all that information, I will open up, this is a public hearing, so we're going to open this up for public comment. If anyone wants to make a comment or ask a question, you can entertain that now.
I have a question with respect to the survey.
Mhm.
Was there a company that you used when that road became the town's? Because as you remember, in the past, it was out of Green Mountain. So when the road was redone and new culverts were put in, is there information I could get from the previous survey company of the surveyor that did the land to turn it over from Green Mountain to the town?
We can get that information for you.
Yeah, I don't know if, you're talking about the more recent event. And
Well, it just happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah, when
but
we did all that work up there.
Just don't forget that we didn't, the road didn't transfer ownership 2 years ago. That there's been a complicated ownership and responsibility agreement over who owned it, who was responsible for the roads, who was responsible for the utilities, was somewhat convoluted. There was ownership evidence that the town owns the road dating back into the 80s and possibly even before that. So the action 2 years ago was more of a clarification. I don't believe we had the road.
Yeah, the survey.
We did have it
We
surveyed?
absolutely did.
Yeah, because you
And they
had,
may have it on file.
you had to make sure the road was put in the
Good
right
answer.
spot.
Good question.
The alignment needed a little correction, if I remember
Okay, so,
correctly.
so whoever did that, we can get her the.
Yeah, Jane's gonna get the,
Oh, perfect.
well, she's gonna look and see if she can find it now. If not, she has your
Town
email.
took ownership 2 years ago.
Correct, yeah, and that was a great question, because they may have that on file and not even have to do a whole lot of
You'll
work
you'll
to
get
it,
the
yeah.
2 pins, the corner pins.
Yeah.
It won't be your whole lot.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, even if
It'll be
there's
the
some,
front.
of it, yeah, that was a
Yeah.
great question. She's gonna find out that answer for you, and if she can't get it tonight, she'll email you. Absolutely, great.
Any other public comment? Anybody online want to speak? All right.
Can I?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, we've got,
Well, I think this is a great idea and concept, and I know that other people, to my knowledge, have had to pay for land. I don't think the town should be in a position of giving away land regardless of the size. I mean, my house has as much land as that thing, almost, or a little bit more. I really don't think it's a good avenue to start going down. And I think it's unfair to the other residents and taxpayers to give people land without giving the other people and charging them. So I can see if they wanted to buy it and pay for it and worth what it's worth, or whatever it's worth, it can't be much. I would feel better about that, but just to hand over Lincoln land without public input, well, this is one public meeting, so maybe more come next week and tell us what you think, because that's what I'm gonna listen to, and that's what I have heard, so that's where I'm going with that. That's what I've heard from people anyway.
Well, that's what we're doing. We're following the RSA.
Yeah,
that
I know
says-
you are. Yep, so come to the meetings, come to the webs and tell us.
David, you had,
I was similar on that, along those lines, and I think Tammy brought it up before, that we did the same thing over on East Spur Road.
Right.
For the landowners over there. They didn't gain much, maybe 10 or 15 feet or whatever it was, but they had to pay something, whatever it was, but it wasn't like a gift or
It
anything
wasn't
like
free
that.
with a
More
free
than $1,
survey,
so
yes. No.
I know $1 makes it all legal and everything, but it was what we did, I don't know how many years ago that was. I'd say 2 or 3, but I know it's longer than that. It's probably 10 in my mind. But
I think it was 2 or 3 also.
yeah. But you know, that's what I think would be the fair way to go about doing it. You treated those people who were residents in the town for a while that way, and it kind of like set a precedent. This is what we're going to do, so we ought to follow that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I love the idea of being back on the tax roll.
And I'm
But
not
yeah, we
saying
can't
that
give
we
it
didn't
away.
want it a gift or anything like that. Just
Yeah.
No, I just, I want to be able to have the
It makes
deed on
sense.
the trust and have that, land
Right.
being part of 45% drive, and
Yeah.
not part of that being part of the town.
Great, we all agree. That rarely happens.
and actually, the planning board did discuss that issue, that East Spur Road,
yeah.
Right.
That's what
it was Carrington's property,
Welch.
Jim Welch's property.
Jim
Yeah.
Welch, yeah. Oh, and I can picture her.
Is it Deb?
No, no, I'm gonna.
The other one. Anyway,
Second.
the third property that they did pay for that section of,
I think it came all the way down. My parents.
is it by Carrington, by Carrington's, yeah.
They did, yeah.
And the planning board did bring that up and discuss it. There was no official recommendation coming from that, but it was discussed. All right, with that being said, is there any other public comment? We are required to have a second hearing, and that's going to be on 2 weeks from tonight, which is, what's today, the 14th to 28th? So we'll have a second hearing on the 28th. Maybe in the meantime, the board can find out what transferred in that last sale as far as acreage or square footage, and what the price was, and we can be in touch with what that transferred as a cost per
Yeah.
square foot or per acre, whatever makes
Jane
sense.
O'Connor, yes. Jane.
Oh,
Yeah.
Remember
yeah.
Jane?
Okay, yeah.
Sorry,
So,
I found it. We'll keep in touch with you though, when we find out what that info is, I'll have Jane, and when we can have Jane, let you know. Thank you.
okay, thank you.
You.
All right. Now I lost my agenda. Where is it?
Let's do minutes, but Jane's not here, so
Let's skip the minutes. We talked about Halloween. Town managers report.
Which?
What?
Wait, just a minute. I think Jane's trying to give you that info, so give her just a second. Do you want me to read this report out loud?
Thank you.
Sure.
He was wondering about Halloween as well. We discussed it, the drought, immediate townwide irrigation ban, we did that. Short-term rental applications. Town Hall has received 7 more registrations, at 24 total. And he did apologize, well, to me anyway, that he way overestimated the number. He was confusing it with something else. So at the 2 meetings 2 weeks ago.
He did say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, not as good as I'd hoped, but it's better than having 0. Treasurer, Susan Schneider has begun working with Julie to transition into the treasurer position. Fantastic. Do we have Julie's resignation yet? Do you know?
Yes.
We
we're looking at-
have that.
Yep.
Great, and so that must have been the meeting I missed. Good.
Yep.
Ralph Tellis Water Study, no update as of
Friday.
No, it was a Friday. So we'll ask about that next week. The Breck Street, planning board met on the 9th and discussed. Ray Corbin will be conducting site visits on Tuesday the 15th, so tomorrow.
And just to add to that, I believe that they're planning,
I have everything,
Okay.
oil tanner, all that. I can't find anything on the survey.
Okay.
okay,
Oh, that's.
all right.
Oh, I have a huge file on that, but I thought I would have had scanned copies.
I'm gonna be with Ray tomorrow.
I just emailed Ray Corbett. I just-
So they'll be in touch with you once they find
That's
out.
great.
He might
Thank
be
you
able
for
to send
waiting.
it in.
You're welcome. And you have my.
I have all your
email.
contacts, Marianne, and I'll reach out to you. I'll probably know by morning.
Oh, very
Because our
good.
engineer, I emailed him,
Very good.
just, you know.
Time. Been all this time, so.
I know, you've been patient.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for coming in. Nice meeting
Bye.
you.
He's cutting the grass off.
I just want water us.
Thank you for looking.
You're welcome.
You're gonna be with Ray tomorrow to, he's going to LeBrec Street to look at that. And then I understand he'll also be looking at Forest Gardens.
Yes.
As far as LeBrec, they're still figuring out the 50/50, or is that null and void at this point? Did they-
That's what he's coming for tomorrow. Oh, that's
Again.
part of what he's coming for tomorrow. That's one of the things Ray's coming into town to do, to look at that.
Yep.
So, talk about roads, talk about that. The only other thing I had, just the, I don't know if it's Bureau of Traffic Control or Highway, I think it's the State Highway Department has been in touch with some businesses up on Route 3 in Lincoln regarding some signs that are in the state right-of-way, and they're pressing a couple of the owners up there to move the signs out of the right-of-way. The right-of-way going up Route 3, when it was laid out back in the 50s or 60s, was made extra wide in many spots in possible anticipation of widening that road. Obviously, we know that didn't happen, and instead they built an interstate up behind. But the state still owns wide sections of Route 3 up there, and there's some signs that are
Well, they
actually
don't own it. They own the right of way on it. They have a right of way
on it.
Right, they don't own the land. They have a right of way.
Correct. But anyway, they've been enforcing the signs that are within their right of way. In particular, was it Frezzalone's?
Yes.
Frezzalone's and the old
And
bagel
Mike
shop.
Hyland's old
Yeah.
bagel shop are the two signs that are being,
Well, their right of way goes about 3 feet into my living room of the house next to the garage also. I'm not gonna meet that, so.
well,
My couch is
we can say that, but just, we want the town to
Yeah.
know that we have interceded on behalf of the landowners and taxpayers of Lincoln to see if the state will, I mean, those two signs have been there
Right,
longer than I've been here.
right,
Pre-existing non-conforming.
yes.
Right. Which is valid from a planning perspective, not necessarily from a ownership or right to locate their perspective. But
And I know
anyway,
it's the
the
state
town is
that makes-
interceding on
Good.
behalf of the taxpayers to see if the state will take a look at those and really determine if they interfere with the state's ability to maintain their right-of-way, which is the reason that a sign would need to be removed, is because it interferes with the state's ability to maintain that right-of-way.
Snowpack doesn't even reach it when they plow.
No, I know.
That would be my observation after living on that road for
And then you look at
40-something
some of
years.
the other businesses along that road. and I'm not gonna call out John Hamm at all. But I mean, really? How can they pick on these two signs and not everybody else? It doesn't make any sense to me.
There are other
That's what
signs
people ask, too.
within that right of way.
The corner of someone's pool house in that right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But you know, we also own to the intersection, our property line goes under that flashing light in the intersection.
Oh, really?
Corners right there, and it also, the property line goes on to where the bridge is, down to the water line under that bridge. So, the one behind us, the Clark Family Bridge, we kind of own most of that. But, I mean, it's just crazy that, but yet, we own all the way out there, yet we park in the right of way still. I mean, we pay taxes on it and whatnot, and everybody drive on it and have no say. Makes me mad. I feel like a second homeowner in Lincoln that can't vote. That's what I feel like.
All right, anyway, just want to make it clear that we are fighting on behalf of the taxpayers in this.
As we
We
should.
as a board, you mean?
As
As a town, we've written a letter to
Oh,
the,
yeah.
to the,
Which did?
yeah,
Yeah,
Very good to
to
know.
the state highway department,
Yeah.
and
as we should.
It'd be Bureau of Traffic.
I don't know if it's traffic control or highway department, but it's both of them are involved somehow. They're both we're notified by the town. I just wanted to let people know that we're not sitting by just waiting to see what happens.
Are they gonna
Right,
come
right.
down Route 112 with the sign, the right of way?
Are they going to?
Right, the sign.
We're not gonna ask them to.
No,
It's kind of, when you go on the interactive maps, you'd be amazed at how quick it gets wide.
oh yeah,
shifts,
it's crazy.
And then it gets narrow again, then widens out again. I think the Route 3 alignment kind of messed with that also. The Route 3 realignment when the interstate was going in.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there.
So, all right, so that's the town manager's report. Did you have anything you wanted to bring
We're
up?
gonna go back to minutes. Don't
Yeah,
forget.
we'll do that.
It's getting colder, so less people eating outside, but when do we go and how is it gonna happen as far as people going back? into their
Columbus
res-
Day.
Is it Columbus Day?
Columbus Day is the automatic trigger.
The Columbus Day or the governor's
Expiration of the order.
expiration of the
Right.
governor's order. Yeah, if he recalls the order, or Columbus Day, whichever came first.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Did you have anything?
No.
All right, I'll open up for public participation.
Did you go down and tell that one Love Brewery to move their lines in, or did you let that slide by?
Butch had a discussion with them. I believe they're staying on that side of the rope. I don't know if anyone's observed anything different than that.
They moved the ropes in a little bit and didn't tie the gazebo anymore. They are still, in my knowledge, using the gazebo for a waiting area for their guests when they're busy. So I don't know, I didn't know about that until I saw it myself.
I don't
It's
think
been
they're
going
doing,
on for quite a while.
I think that he put a stop to that. though.
Well, when the tent went down, that's when the rope went out.
Yeah.
So they had the tents there, and that was it.
Right.
Right.
The tent went down, and then they put the rope way out, and it's still up there beyond where you can see where
Original,
the grass
yes.
is all gone in one area. Now they're
Yes.
going out another 10 feet more to go some more. I mean,
Did he move the ropes?
He took them off being tied from the gazebo essentially,
Okay.
but they're right on the
Move them
same
back
area.
in where
They're
they
like
should've
they're like maybe 5 feet.
You're giving the town away. You tell these people not to use it, and they still do it.
No, we told him he could use it for outdoor seating.
He could use it, yeah.
Yeah.
So much of it. Then his tent went down, they went out another 10 feet.
Mhm.
You give that okay to go that 10 feet too?
Butch has since then gone back and spoken to him again, and he moved the ropes off of the gazebo. If
Uh-huh.
they're not in like they should be, then we'll have to go down and talk to him again, or give him a call. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. We'll definitely have to talk to him again.
Was that?
Yeah.
You give them, let them use some of the land, and then you just take it over.
Did the,
I don't think. you
We'll
can have it
absolutely
down there
have-
twice.
We'll ask Butch to have another talk with him, absolutely.
are they still using gazebo then? They were told they couldn't. use it?
Thursday nights, I think it was
Thursday
for
night is the
music, we
concert,
let them
that's,
do
but
that.
that's not waiting, that's
No.
a band.
There's
And if
always-
they are using it as a waiting
they're
alcohol,
always
it's
climbing
alcohol.
all over that gazebo. People buy
They
it.
have been used, it's too kind of, they used it all, about a month.
Yeah.
Cliffy, we went over it about a month, they've been using the gazebo
Yeah,
for a waiting area.
any local to go to use it, they can't use it because all the people from, want to sit down and eat or in the gazebo.
Right.
You can't, the gazebo belongs to the town,
Yeah.
not their people.
I know with my grandson, to see the
Solve their own problem.
the veteran thing, here, find, show him what my
Yep.
name was, you couldn't get near it, they're sitting all around.
And that's good to know too. I used to spend some evenings there watching people and just sitting with my dog and stuff, you know, and I think it's good to know that that people want to use it. It is public, however, they are private business. So it's negating the public when they're stuck with people in a waiting line. So I get that. I absolutely understand that. Yeah. So you want to go tell them they can't do that anymore?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I'm okay with that.
you sure?
I'm pretty good at it,
In my mind,
actually.
I wouldn't mind myself.
All right, we'll send Tammy over, how's
Oh,
that?
there you go. Good.
Really, you want to talk to me?
Absolutely, yeah, I will stop by and see them. Yeah.
You know,
Okay,
Yep,
anything on, say, the engineers going up on, the garden there,
tomorrow.
and, what about the permit that he's supposed to get from the state, has he ever got that yet?
This state you've inquired with and they've still not responded. Is that correct?
Well, that's correct, and heard from Rich Mock, but also Ray's gonna look that over closely and see if it truly does need a SWIP for the condos.
But I thought the state said he needed a wetland permit.
If he's disturbed the amount of area that triggers a SWIP.
Well, he disturbed the whole thing there.
Other than driving down, trying to locate where Rich Mock lives, and, you know, a lot of them are working remotely, so.
If Ray looks at this tomorrow, would he have any pull with
He could
this?
probably reach out to maybe his supervisor or some Rich Mock supervisor, or whoever is next up.
Okay. And you'll be with him when he does that tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right. Send him that message that if he looks at it and his opinion is that this needs to be acted on, then to attempt to get in touch with Richard Mock, and if not, whoever's next up, but to pursue it. So.
Have they started on the little pond yet? I hadn't gone up there this week.
I get an update.
Oh,
I spoke with Mike Shepherd.
Yep.
He was in on another matter. It was brought up about the bonds for the ponds.
yeah,
He's currently assisting
Rick Elliott.
Rick Elliott getting it. So it's in process. We should be seeing the bond soon, but he did have a question. There's what, a performance bond and then a surety bond. He's not sure that the bond company will issue the two bonds. They may issue the bond that was the surety is for the construction. And then once that's completed, then you get the performance bond or whatever. I may have it backwards, but there's the performance bond for the building or redoing of the bond. And then the surety is to make sure that they
Maintenance.
do the maintenance, but he was thinking that the bonding company they're using may not issue both bonds at the same time, because you can't assure something's gonna be maintained until it's built.
So they'll do the performance bond
Right.
first and then the surety bond
Right.
following.
That's what he was saying. I've never had to go be bonds, so I don't know.
I don't know either,
But it
but
made sense the
it
way he
made
put it.
sense, yeah.
So it is, that was just, I think last Friday when I talked to him, so that's the latest.
Is that deadline still, he's gonna have that by November 10th?
30th.
30th.
30th?
And-
I thought it was the 10th.
No,
No,
30th.
it's been the 30th.
Wishful thinking.
Oh, I wrote it wrong, I'll check it. go back.
Whatever the notice of decision says,
thought it was the 10th.
I don't know what,
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was the end of November, but either way, there's a date in November, whatever is
So
on,
what happens then if you don't get it done by then?
he has to come back to the planning board.
That ain't gonna stop the water from coming down. It can't get me now anyway, because my neighbor built it up anyway, so it's next, it's gonna get down and make. I hope it goes good high tide.
No, that's all we can do at this point. I mean, we can't go in there and do it ourselves and,
Well,
We reported them to all the right correct
they
authorities.
do it for years. When we used to, in school, we work on, school vacations, we go and clean that river. We never had that problem. The town would go up there, we go through there, clean that all up, and all the water would run good. But nobody's cleaned it in the last 40 years, so that's why you get the problem.
well, maybe that's an idea for ongoing project.
Sounds like it.
All right, any other public participation? Oh,
Somebody mentioned to me they'd like there's a lot of speeding going on LeBrec Street, and they'd like a speed limit lower. But we don't have speed limit signs on any of the roads, do we?
It's 15, isn't it, over?
mm-mm. I thought 20, what's the minimum, 25?
The lowest is 25. You can, most are 30 residential areas. That a town can request a 25, but that's the lowest.
I've seen 20, so you can't request a 20
No, unless you want to do some sort of engineering survey
or something like that. Yeah.
there's nothing.
So I don't know what the speed limit is on LeBrec. What did you say it was?
Oh, I don't know. I
I don't
thought
either.
I saw a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit sign somewhere down what? Never mind.
That could be a private, some private properties posted. There's nothing I can enforce.
Oh, so
Right.
maybe the South Peak.
Yeah, they can do it.
Well, I told them about the width of the street and
It's a private development. though.
They have a portable speed bump.
We don't.
Oh, do they have, is there such a thing?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
the, like the rubberized,
Yeah, okay.
and I think it counted or something.
I think something you try. All the roads getting wild, do it. Just to sort of, the affordable one, just to try them for a month, you know?
well, Tammy had out a sign. I think it nailed it, didn't it? Somebody driving down hit it with their car.
The kid,
The
yeah, I have the slow
the
children,
baby.
it looks like a kid pecking the flag, yeah, they just ran it over.
We have passing on Paul Road now.
I sit out there with the thing of strawberries, don't tell the police, but I had a thing of strawberries, and the car came flying, so I whipped a strawberry right at the windshield, they slowed down.
I haven't done anything like that.
I absolutely
yet.
did,
All right.
and I would do it again, because my kid was playing on the street.
Yeah, that's a scary thing when people are driving.
Yeah.
It is.
And
Is
it's
that
people
something
turning
private?
around because they don't realize it's a dead end street, or they think
They
they're
have to
pulling
come
into the
back
parking
through.
lot of one of the
Amazing.
places, they think they're pulling into a parking lot.
Call me,
They're
I'll
like,
sit out
oh,
there
now
with
we
you.
gotta go turn around.
I'll do the other side of the street.
They have to weave around kids, yeah.
Going back to Roger's original comment, that might be something that the police could look into, what that would cost, and if that's even an effective way of, a temporary slowdown. Obviously, it'd be seasonal, and it wouldn't have to be in the same place, and maybe move it around.
Well, if it worked on like the little street down there, we worked there. We didn't get, don't think that expensive, and put one up on Paul Road and try it. Because they really get zinging down there on that street there, so if you can't get going too fast up there.
If they blow through every stop sign, I mean, you can't go like 40, 50 feet without a stop sign. They blow through the stop signs, they must be if they're going that fast.
Yeah, at the time.
Is there anyone online who has a question or comment? Carol or Mary? All right, then let's close public participation and go back to the meeting minutes.
I didn't read these.
motion to adjourn. I couldn't have seconded, I wasn't here. Would have if I was here.
From the previous.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean,
They can approve it, but they can't sign it, so. you can do that.
Did you have anything on this? And you also, I'll have to, like, be banished. Yeah, take a look at it. Just on this, on scanning.
I have that yellow thing. Yeah.
Just while you're reading that, just, there's two other just housekeeping things. One is that we have the next, the third installment of the request from the state for reimbursement of some funding related to the COVID-19. This one is for $122,372, much of which is wages for fire department, police department, covering the swimming areas. Then this, the duct cleaning in this building was over $6,000. If you remember, we had to do that to circulate the air in here better, because there was a problem with that. The contracted services for the town clerk, because of COVID-19, the new town clerk was not able to go to the training for the motor vehicle, so we had to hire someone to do that. And then there's just a lot of little things. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the request for the third CARES. No, this is not CARES. This is the Gopher, which is part of the CARES. But anyway, the Gopher funding through the state in the amount of $122,372.42.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. I'm going to sign that. And then the second housekeeping thing is that and there's no rush because we're not dating this till October 1st, but the new Lincoln Town Treasurer, we need to give them the authority to deposit all monies received by the town of Lincoln and appropriate financial institutions, to allow them to delegate deposit or other financial functions to other town officials, so long as they're in accordance with RSA 41.6, to delegate deposit functions to the Lincoln Town Clerk and Tax Collector and her respective deputy of funds collected in that role. These deposits shall be made on a weekly basis or daily whenever receipts total $500 or more. And in making these deposits, the Lincoln Town Clerk, Tax Collector, and her respective deputy shall provide the town of Lincoln Treasurer with the deposit slip from the town's general fund financial institution, in addition to a detailed backup report documenting the receipt of monies comprising the deposit made. This authority shall remain in effect until rescinded by written notice of the Lincoln Town Treasurer. So a motion to give this same authorization, give this authorization to the new town treasurer dated October 1st, 2020.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And did you sit with the minutes? Did you have any changes?
No, I did not.
You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the August 31st, 2020 board minutes, select board minutes.
Okay, and I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
I
Those abstaining?
I will abstain. You also have non-public minutes from 4:30 PM meeting. Non-public session.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept the non-public meeting minutes from the 4:30 meeting on, what was the date?
August 31st.
August 31st, thank you.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then you have a 6 PM meeting, non-public session. The same day.
I'll make a motion to accept the non-public meeting minutes from the 6 o'clock meeting on August 31st.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
I abstain from all of that.
All right, if there's nothing else, we're going to go into non-public to discuss as a follow-up the
Non-public.
the attorney phone call that we just had at 4:30. We've not made a decision.
And a legal update on the Smith litigation or mediation.
Oh,
I have that for
that's
you.
right, that's right. So I'll make a motion for those two legal issues to go into non-public.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.